Well, hello, good evening, happy Sunday. And tonight we're back on, we're getting to the towards the end of Watercolour month. Lots of wobblyos in there. I'm just getting the cameras ready for you here. So that's one and that one. There we go. So I am doing a totally different technique to what you've seen before with me, I believe. Yes, because I'm including something else that I'm going to add. So I've got a pesky little fly in here and I don't have the fly swap. Hi, Helen. I've got a pesky fly. It just keeps buzzing round and he's not going to leave me alone. So if you see me swiping, I have a ruler. If you see me swiping for him, then sorry, flies have to die. Nice haircut. It's nothing. It's not, well, it's a while ago now. It's the next one will be my grey hair cover up. In a few weeks time. And where are we? What is the date today? 23rd today. Hi Sam, nice to see you. So I have got some watercolouring tonight. So I have my Fluid 100 watercolour paper, and I won't show you the stamp set because that'll kind of give the game away a little bit. But I'm going to use some of this again today, and I'm going to do a really big wash. I'm going to do two different ways. So I'm going to have a sheet of this. I wrote the sizes on here so I remember exactly. So when I go to half it, I know exactly what size I'm looking at. So half a piece of this, 7 inches, it's going to be 3.5. So I'm going to chop that down there. I'm going to do a couple of panels here. Okay, we're going to do one. It's a different type of technique. I haven't done it for a long while. So bear with, and we'll see how we go. I'm just wetting my paintbrush here. I've got a little pot of water here, just a little mini jam jar. I do like to use those because they're jolly handy. I'll just leave it just off the screen there. You can see me dip in and out. And I've got a very narrow little white brush here that I'll be using later. So I'll just leave that one wet as well. That's to the side of me. There we go. I think we're all set up. So if I bring this one around, I have just dotted some ink on here. What we're going to be doing, I've got some Night of Navy re-inker out of our little bottles. So the re-inkers can re-ink the ink pads, the water-based markers, and you can do a variety of techniques with it. So I thought I'd get the true Jean and Judy. Hi Judy. I think she's watching me for the first time. One of my friends has gone on holiday with to another crafter. So Night of Navy re-inkers, I use loads of different ways. Where are we today? Sunday. So on Wednesday, I'm going to do shaving foam. So some of you haven't seen it, some of you will have seen it. It's another of my favourite techniques, and we use a lot of the re-inkers. We'll just have 3 different combinations. So if you want to put some colour, 3 colour mixtures in the comments, then please do, and I will use those colours next week. I will pick one to use. So Night of the Navy has been put on here, and the white, this is the craft white ink. I'm going to put a little bit more on there because I pushed it around, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be enough. I want that to be concentrated. Okay, so I'm going to start off on here. Take one out of the way for now, just get out of sight. So my water, because I've just washed my brush out and it's got some blue in it, it's going to have a very loose kind of blue feel to it. Okay. Oh, you can only see me. Well done. So thank you, whoever that was. Gold star. Oh, and now you've got me back to front. Let me take that off. You want that one, and that one, and come back again. Carol, pop me a private message with your address and you can have one of the cards from tonight. Okay, so I've got my little water bottle here. It's just a little mini jam jar. Whenever I go to afternoon teas or anywhere they serve these, then I always take them because they get washed in the dishwasher. So I'm using the water in here. It is just water, but it's got a little bit of blue out of the brush from before. Okay, so I'm not going all the way off the edges. I'm just doing myself a panel in the middle here, and I'm saturating that nice and wet. Okay, so it's just going to come through. I'm tilting it slightly so that you can see it better on the screen, and so that now I'm going to work next. Hi Shaz. I'm going to dip this into my Night of Navy ink off here. I'm going to bring it down a bit. Trying trying to stay in camera but still see what I'm doing. So I'm just tapping that into some of the ink. Now this is going to go on very dark at the top. I want it to be dark, but I also want it to be very fluid. So as I walk, this is my wide brush from the aqua painters. So I'm just going to put some more water on there and literally try and get that to run. By tilting it, you will see this run down the page. And because the idea is we're working for a night sky, I don't want too many loose edges along here, but I just want to neaten up those edges a little bit. So I'm going to go back with some more water, some more of the dark, and I'm going to run this along here, maybe a bit wetter. When you're using watercolour paper, it really can take this. See, it's starting to run down. It really can take it. If you just use normal card, it will crumple it. It will start to do silly things. But keep starting at the top and working down. Okay, so we're going to keep taking that ink because I want it to be dark. And it is on my screen. I can see it running down there. If I bring it up, you can probably see it. And it's kind of taking, because the surface was wet to start with, it's just going to keep coming down there. Okay, so just neaten those edges. Just really want to try and get some gradient in there. I've got some more dark there. Okay, so just literally just daub that on and let it run. Okay, so you can see the strength of that coming down. It shows more on my screen actually that I can see you up there. Okay, just dab that on there and just let it run. Okay, so they are trying to seep through there. I am just going to take a piece of paper towel. I had oodles earlier. Where is it? I'll take it from under here. And I'm just going to absorb that little bit on the bottom there because I don't really want that to run into the frame. If I use the folded edge here, can you see what I'm doing? I'm just taking that up from the bottom. Okay, now the other thing is when you're doing something like this, if you want it to be lighter at the bottom, what card are you using? This is the Fluid 100. If you find actually I wanted that to be lighter at the bottom, you can actually just go with your paper towel and just absorb some of that off. But then I will dilute it and I will let that still keep running. Okay, so this water's getting very blue, but it's just going to flow. Okay, so the more you water it, I won't go throw it in the sink, but let it run, and that will keep seeping down. Okay, I should have had 2 pots of water. This one's getting very, very dark. Okay, but you can kind of get the gist of this, coming really, really dark at the top. Okay, so we've got put some more in there, and then I'm going to do one technique with this one and let it dry. Okay, so we're kind of letting that bleed a little bit. Okay, so it's coming darker downwards. Now I'm going to put this onto a piece of paper, just a piece of scrap paper for now. So excuse me. One of the techniques I've not done for a while is salt. So the salt technique. I'm just pushing that up again so it's in screen. If I just zoom you in a sec, so you can see it a bit more. I'm going to just sprinkle some salt on here. It is going to be curling a bit the other way. Okay, and I'm just putting some rock. This is just rock salt, so this is coarse salt. Okay, and I'm just going to let that sit on there. Okay, I want it on the top part. I don't so much want it on the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to just slide that out of sight, and I'm going to do another one. So let's just put that out of the way over there, and that's just going to dry, and then we'll come back and take another look. So I'm now going to do another piece. I'm going to do the other half. Hiya. The pretty blue. The blue is the Night of Navy re-inker. This one here. Okay, so it's just Night of Navy. It's what we re-ink the ink pads with. If you like the smaller uninked spots, you can ink those with the uninked spots as well. And if you buy the uninked spots and the re-inker, you can do so much more than just spending more money onto a bigger pad. I suggest that you have the bigger pads of your favourites and then leave the smaller ones for all the other colours. So again, we're going to saturate this, and this is going to be blue water. Okay, you're going to see me just letting this run. So we're saturating the paper. Okay, it's kind of easier to see this time round. Okay, so I'm kind of trying to leave the same sort of border all the way around. just roughly. It's not going to be any straight lines at all. But as I've done before, this is running, so I want to run it back up there. Okay, so now we're going to move this away. If I bring that back onto the camera so you can see it. I've stuck to the edge there, look. So if I bring this back on, so we've got a wet canvas. Okay, so we're going to dip in here with a wet, saturated wet brush. We're going to stroke this on here and just let it run. Okay, the canvas has got to be wet to start with. Okay, and we will keep dipping and picking up. Okay, and you can see that running down there. Now this one's going really well, look. I love having fun with things like this. I really do. You'll probably tell. Okay, so it is taking that ink down for us. Okay, we don't want to go too far because it's going to do some of its own now. So another wet brush, more ink, and just bringing that down. Okay. It's amazing the different patterns it makes actually. Because I've got some liquid at the bottom there, I don't want to have that straight line, so I'm just going to absorb that. Okay. And we can even let that run the other way now. Okay, so keep the bottom bit a little bit lighter. But like before, I want the top to be really, really dark, so I'm picking up some of this. I want it to be a night sky. Okay, we're not putting the salt on this one. Got a different technique to go on here. And as that kind of bleeds its way down, we're going to get to a certain point, and we're going to stop it by taking our tweezers that were over the side there. These are the embossing tweezers, and we're going to get to a certain point and we're going to pick this up. You know, this is the only time I like reverse tweezers. Okay, and then we're going to dry it. We don't want it to go any further, so and I need a nice dry canvas for the next bit. Okay, this is perfectly safe on my pad here of paper, but I like to let the air circulate, so I'm just lifting it up a little bit. You can see with the blues how the blues bring out the different shades. You've got some purple tones in there. Okay, but it wants to be a nice dark surface. Okay, so how's that looking so far? So the white surround is perfectly okay. I'll just let that hang down there. The white surround is perfectly okay. If you want to trim it down, you could do, but I do want to use that as a white layer. You've never done this before, I know, Linda. But it's good, that's why you're here. So I show you all sorts of different techniques. Now we need another piece of paper, scrap paper. I do use the backs of these, I do reuse them later. But we've also got the grid paper here as well. So what I'm going to do next is bring this back, but I'm going to bring it back and turn it around for the white corner here. So we've got some white ink on there. I don't think that's dried yet. Okay, so I need a tiniest drop of water, so I'm just going to squeeze this out to the side there, and I would just need to make that loose enough without being too wet. Just dab that off. Okay, and I'm just going to pick up some of that white. Okay, now this is our sky. I'm going to use my Tombow and I'm going to knock the edge of this, and I'm going to make you some speckles. Holding my breath, I love this technique. Is that a nice starry sky? If I bring it up to the camera, look at that. Love it. So it's it could be a stormy sky or just a night sky, and all it is the white reinker. It's the craft white, so it's like the navy, but it's just the white craft one. Okay, so they're really important pieces for me to have in my toolkit. I love them, and this is a fabulous one for Christmas. We might have some splodges on here, so I'm going to move everything out of the way. That can dry and I can use that another day for something. Okay, so I'm going to move these out of the way. I'm going to dry my brush off. I'll let you into a secret. When I was playing with this earlier, I knocked the jar and I had blue liquid everywhere. So I'm going to put the lid on it so it can't go anywhere. It's totally by accident. It ran between the crack of the table, so it made a little blue puddle on the floor as well. So yeah, nice mess that was. So glad I did it beforehand and not while you were on air with me. So there are my 2 panels. Now if I leave that one there, I'm going to put my brush out of the way with that one. I'm going to bring the other one back. Okay, now with this, what I'm going to do is, can you notice we put white rock salt on there? Okay, and there are different splodges in the sky. Okay, the rock salt, can you see on here? I don't know how good the camera's going to show that. The rock salt has actually picked up the blue pigment, the water, the wet blue, and it's actually bled the salt has soaked it up. Okay, so if I just brush this off now, okay, I don't think it's actually totally dry. So let's just try the heat tool again. So let's dry it first. It's got to be true dry, otherwise it'll just smear. Oops, crazy. Oh. You know what? I've overheated this because I've used it earlier and I've been using it quite a bit today. We'll come back to that one a little bit longer. We'll let that one dry a bit longer and see if the heat tool wakes up again. So what I'm going to do next is I'm taking my grassy grove. Okay, and we've got some lovely trees in here. And oh, yeah, that was clever. I don't think I didn't get my navy ink pad. So I'm going to stamp these trees in navy or black along the bottom here. Well, in fact, black would go. Black would work. Excuse me. There we go. I'll do black. So I'm going to take a block and I'm going to take these trees here. You could use any kind of tree that could be a silhouette. Okay, so I'll pop those aside. They were a set that's held over from last year's catalogue. So nice to have things that we can carry on using. Now this could do with a Memento ink refill. So I'm going to show you, I do show you periodically as to how we re-ink. So just bear with me a sec. I'm going to get the bone folder I use for re-inking. We want it to be like a nighttime silhouette. So this is the Memento ink refill and it works exactly the same as all the others. This is quite a firm ink pad, so I'm just going to go on here, zigzag it up and down, and then I turn it and push it around this way as well. Okay, and then once we've got a good coating on there, I'm going to take this is the one I use for my inking, and I'm just going to spread that around like spreading butter on toast, and it'll just work it into the surface. Okay, there we go, and we clean that over there. I'll take the worst off and then get some isopropanol on that later. So let's bring the trees on. Because this is the first time I've inked this one for a little while, I'm going to stamp this up, and we've re-inked, so we need to know that that's going to be a good all even. Oops, I'm jiggling the camera. So I'm going to stamp this off in the corner. Nice solid image. Oh, look at that. So we're going to have this on here, but I'm going to have the tails are going to be hanging off the bottom. I really don't mind that. So I want to have these framed. So get a nice, good, strong black on there. And I'm going to hold this still, and I'm going to stamp some tall ones in the corners. Okay, so they're going to be fairly full height. The stems will come off the edge, kind of framing it really. Your first ever Stampin' Up purchase, what, Grassy Grove? Oh, Maxine, it's a good choice. Very good choice. There we go. So we've got some trees on there like so. Okay. Remember the technique I was showing you with the greetings, when I said to emboss in the black and then you can then colour the strips for the greeting. Just leave them done. Just do them all in one batch and then leave them in the stamp set that you've taken the greetings from. Then when you want to use some, you've got them to use on another project. Okay, so I'm going to do the same here this side. This sky is quite dark, which is what we wanted, and these are kind of silhouette trees. So then if you want to do what I call second and third generation, you can come down a bit, alternate the height. I've not re-inked it this time. I'm just stamping some lighter ones. Okay, and you can stamp some more at the top here as well. So you've got some paler ones at the background. They kind of give you the dimensions of 3D, just coming along in the background, just a hint. And the same over here. So you've got some lighter ones and you're coming darker to the front. Okay, I kind of like this little gap along the front here. It kind of like where it's touching the ground. If I bring that up to the camera so you can see that. Okay, on the other one we're going to try another technique, so we will go back to the heat embossing. Okay, but there's just a little bit on there. Be prepared to purchase lots more. Oh dear. Well, somebody's got a birthday coming up, haven't you? You see, so hubby might treat you. Let me just see, this is still very, very warm, but it's come back again, so let's just dry this off very quickly. And we'll bring this back. I've probably been a bit over heavy-handed with this. Probably put a bit too much salt on there. I'll heat it from underneath as well, because where the salt is, you can't get to underneath. So that can go through the bottom of the paper there. Approaching it from both ways. Yeah, it has got a different texture to what I was expecting. I have been too generous with the salt. Okay, this is still a little bit damp under there. All I'm doing, this is just a cheap kids paintbrush. I happen to have, I can actually scrape these off with the handle. I've set into the paper. There we go. So that's the salt off. Now you can tell by the salt that's gone down here. Something stuck behind. So these ones, you can see these have actually turned kind of like lilacs and blues. Now I haven't got a use for them yet, but you know I recycle. So they're going to go into another little caddy, because I think I might try and come up with some use for those, and I don't know what yet. So that's just another technique. It's not as pretty as this one. I don't like that as much. It's kind of like I've probably left them too long, but fewer crystals, and heat them straight away, and that would be another nice different texture on there. Okay, so I like this one, but I'm going to do this one differently. We're going to go back to what we did the other day. We're going to bring on the Dust Buddy, the black embossing powder, the Versamark, and our piece of black paper where we put the crystals of the powder into. So, need to clean the stamp first because we've had a black ink on there. A big, big birthday, Linda. Absolutely. So just use this chamois on here just to get that off. And I will stamp it and dry it on the corner here. Another piece of salt there. Okay, so it's got to be clean when you put it onto the Versamark. You'll see that this, over time, you have ink that is still on a stamp set when you tap it on here, and it will, just a bit of residue will come off. It doesn't stop it performing its task. And because you're going to cover it with another colour, it's not an issue. It's not going to put red ink onto that, even though it's kind of a pinky colour. So I'm going to stamp that on there. Stamp this exactly the same way, but I'm going to try in the same positions-ish. Okay. Stamp that down nice and firmly. I will do one section at a time. So that has been stamped on there. I didn't do my Dust Buddy. Whoops. Never mind. It was there ready for me. So because this has been wet, you might find the particles go somewhere we didn't want them. Oh, look at that. Isn't that a lovely look? Flick off those excess pieces. Tip that back in the pot. And move these out of the way from the heat, that's all. And then we'll grab the gun again. Oh, it's gone. this has always been a very, very reliable tool. I've had this for several years, and it's very, very warm because I have been using it today. It's not been dropped or anything. Oh, she says it did actually get dropped in the team meeting yesterday. I have got another one. Let me grab that one. Bit more noise than the other one, so let me just heat this up. It's a very old one. Don't want to have that melting, so I haven't taken the glasses on yet. Where are they hiding? Well, that's just concentrating on there. I will just put my glasses on. I can see whether it's all melted. Oh, yes, that's going. There we go. That's done. Okie doke. It's warped the paper a bit, you can see, because the heat has got to it. So I'm going to do that all over again. The other side. So you can mix and match these and take the pieces that you like best off different techniques. Stamp those on the other side. So I want them half on and half off. There we go. Do the same. There we go. That's gone nicely. Back in the pot. I have no idea how we are for time. Here we go, mate. No, he's still not. Needs to cool down. It's been overworked, basically. A couple of little loose flecks there. So you might decide you'd like to choose to do this heat embossing on the other one as well. But I'd love you to have a go. If you do have a go, then please just share it with us. We do like to see what other people do. So there we go. We've got that one in there. Bring on the other one. Compare the two. There we go. So we've got the white flecks on this one, the first one. And then we've got the salt on the other one. I like the white, but I'm thinking now I kind of need to have a little bit more on there. How's about we put some on this one as well? Okay, but I'm going to put some neat. I'm going to wipe that off. Kitchen roll. Just wipe that off. And put the ink on and neat. There we go. Yeah, so it's the white re-inker. And put some dots on there. I put a little tiny bit, in fact I should have shook it actually, maybe it's watery on the top. Good shake. Oh, that's better. A bit gloopy. Okay, so we can put a few more on there and then we can do a few on this one. So it's the small paintbrush. Just take some of that, wet the brush nicely and then knock it on. Okay, you can see that the concentrated without the water gives you a darker tone on there. We'll do some on this one as well. There we go, a bit heavy on that one. There we go, and I'm liking those very much. Okay, how do you think? Put the lid on that. Are you with me? I have not been watching the comments, have I? Love to have a go at that. Yes, Linda, you can do that when I see you next week. Oh, a couple of days' time, look. Excuse me. You could use you could use a salt in a shaky card, definitely. That's what I was thinking about the blue. I've got those little bottles. And I love the bottles, and I'm thinking that they would look nice in one of the shaker, the little dome shapes as well. So I'm just going to dry these off and then we'll make the cards up. Okay. You like this technique? Oh, and you're coming, Marilyn, off the top of my head. You're coming soon as well, aren't you? No, you're coming when I get back from Vegas. Four weeks tonight, I will be at the airport hotel, ready for Vegas tomorrow. Flying to Vegas for leadership. Really excited. Lots of conversations going on. Lots of friends organising things. It's just been really, really nice. I didn't heat that, did I? No, it's all right. That was quite near to the heat, but that hasn't melted. Okie doke. So I think that's the sheets for now. I'm going to take this one off because I don't like the warped sheet, but I will use the other side of that actually. Let's turn it over. There we go. No, still too warped. That can dry. We'll go with a nice flat one. Okie doke. So cardstocks. Because we're trying to make the black on these, I do like the fact that the black comes through. This one looks really strong. It's nice. So we've got a black card bases. We can do a black on one, and then we can do a navy on the other. We have Night of Navy, which is the ink colour. Just to ring some changes. Oh, no, that's a tent card. Scored and scored again. There we go. And then we have some white. So we might not need the white actually. The white is very white. I think we had this conversation before, and the vanilla is very vanilla. It's kind of like a cross between the two. So it is a gamble as to what we put on there. But this panel could just be both going to start Christmas early. Well done. I want to start Christmas early, so I will be there with you. So you know me, I like clear lines, straight lines. And I think I'm just going to take this. I'm going to take a little tiny slither off here because I don't like that edge quite so much. Now you've finished your little masterpiece, you can just kind of play with it as you like. But I do need to kind of clock what size I'm doing. I'm taking that one to 8.5. So we will have a layer that's going to be 9. This one's going to be 9 on this one. 9 by centimetres on the mat here was 12.8. So we want that to be 0.7. We want that to be by 13. So make a matte layer behind that one, and then we'll come to that one second. Okay, so I'm going to put the navy behind here as well because I think that's going to look good. No, it needs to be navy. Misty's a bit too light. Oh, just wrong. Wishful thinking. That will. There we go. So those of you who've watched me regularly will know that if I do this and I want a small matte layer, I'm even gonna use I've got a pencil. My pencil's the other side of the table. So I'm just gonna put a pen mark there and a pen mark here. And I'm gonna turn, once I've cut it, I'm gonna turn it over. So if there's any marks there, we won't see them. Okay, so glasses down so I can see the marks. And that's on the biro mark is on the cutting line there, and then the same here, and it's on the cutting line there. Okay, that's those two. And I think I put it away. I had a punch over there, but I think it might have gone away now. Yes, it's gone away. I was going to say I'd gut the middle, but we won't gut tonight. Okay, so I'm going to pop that one on there. The blue and the navy and the black, you kind of think that they don't go together. They kind of do. If I bring that up to the screen there, you can see the differences. They do just accent each other. So I'm going to put those layers on flat. Hello from Arizona. Hi, Francis. Nice to see you. Oh, this one's not going to work, is it? That's not going to run. Let's try this one. is, it's just a little bit dried on the end. You'll have to watch the beginning. Oh yes, do. I like this technique. It's one I haven't done for a while, so I like bringing out the oldies but goodies. Okay, put the layer on here. Just make sure we line it up into the centre. Now, before we mount though, I'll put those two together and then we're going to do this one. Because we'll probably do some more to do the sentiment. We need a sentiment on there. So we've got the black layer. So find a piece that's big enough to do. Cut that down. We're going to do the same with this one. We're putting it onto the navy, so we're going to put the black on here on the background. We're just going to make a biro mark. I don't have a pencil to hand, so we'll do a mark there and a mark there. And I will just turn them over. I think I'll turn that one. So the mark I'm just lining up there again, same on there, and then this one on here. And I'll turn that one over so that we know. Okay, I'll clear that up later. So I've got a couple of other things we're going to do with this one. So before I put them down onto the base card, we'll put them on the foam pads. Stampin' Dimensionals. Holding my breath, there we go. Turn those over to press well down on the back. Sometimes when you heat things, they do start to just warp a little bit, but the watercolour paper does go back to being in its proper state. So this is our card. This one's a side fold, and then this one is going to be a tent fold. Sure, it's up. Oh, it's not. It's a proper one as well. There we go. That way. So we're going to put a greeting on here. I thought I had some Christmassy ones out, and I know where it's going to be. Grassy Grove. I'll leave you though with that because that's the stamp set we got the trees from. Grassy Grove doesn't have any Christmas sentiments in there. It doesn't have to be a Christmas card, but I kind of think it's a night sky. We used this one at the weekend. So this one, Trucking Along, has got a lovely festive one. Wishing you a festive Christmas. Love it to bits. So that's going to be the one we use tonight. Okay, so take that one away. So we have our white scraps. A tray here. And I think because of what we've done on this card, I'm going to do the same again, and I'm going to stamp this, wipe the dust buddy along here. Okay, I'm going to stamp this inversa mark. You're still on the camera, I've not gone off the bottom. Sorry, my watch is dinging. Didn't put it on silent before we started. Stamp that on there, and again we're going to use the black because we've got black tones in the card. Okay, so there's one, and tap the paper. Oops, tap the ink, sorry. I love this. Since I did this with you the other day and did the sentiments, I've actually, when I was playing this afternoon, I actually did a pack of 10 sentiments ready for some swaps that I'm doing for Vegas. So I've signed up to several groups. I will be sharing with you my swaps, so you'll get to see them. I'm in several different groups, so you'll get to see. See this Stampin' Up heat guns back again. We're just getting this to melt. Slide my glasses down so I can see when it's gone. Okay, there's one. And we'll do one more of those. again, this is why my container here of all my little scraps comes in so handy, because I've got all sorts of sizes, and then I can make sure that I just grab a piece out and I know that they're ready to go. Wipe the dust buddy across, flies back, snap that on there. Out the way, that one's finished, that one's finished. Black powder. I could sit and do this for quite a while, just sitting and doing the strips like I taught the other night. It's just so relaxing. Just have a good film on and just sit and emboss a load of greasing. Imagine doing your Christmas cards. Marilyn's saying she's going to do her Christmas cards early. Linda, when I go through the comments, I'll write that down, but there's several others you've wanted. You'll be broke if you have everything that you're liking. We'll prioritise what we're going to use with what. Lovely. Okie dokes, that's our greetings. Mini trimmer. Trim those down. I'm not quite sure what size I want on there at the moment, but I do want to cut the longest piece off. So I'm going to take that. Okay, that goes back in the scrap pot. Even it up to the same distance this end. Okay, that goes in the bin. And then I'm going to make it narrow. I don't want too much white on here. Now, just because of time factor tonight, I'm just going to do this as a standard banner. But like I showed you, you could actually sit there now and then wash these with a pale blue or a diluted navy. And then that could be, I'm going to flag the ends on that one, on both of them actually. But that can go recycle. But you just play with it, just have fun. And it's just a simple stamp that's not really a Christmas set. It's just some trees. So any set that you've got that's got some trees in it, you can do exactly the same with. There we go. Take that out. Take those out. Okay, and we'll flag the ends. You've seen me do this several times. Just going to snick in there to the middle. This corner into the middle. That corner into the middle. Okay, and the same the other end. So into the middle, that way, and that way. Take that piece out. So there's one done. Okay, one there, and one there. So I love both of these cards, but I kind of favour these trees on that card. So just mix and match as you like them. There we go, and that's for that one. There we go. What colour ink was that again? I used Night of Navy. It's a nice dark blue. So the same colour as the cardstock. Because it bleeds, you get out the different colours. This one probably shows it a little bit more. You can see how, in real life, you can see some purple. It's made it lighter where the salt's been. But you can see the purple tones coming through. This one showed more of the purple at the bottom here. Can you see in there? That's kind of like lilac-y colours coming through. Kind of splits out those colours. Okay, so this could actually go up there in the sky if you wanted. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to put it down here, but I don't want to cover that bit up. I'll put it sort of in the middle so I can see both, I think. But it's definitely going to go on foam pads. So grab some dimensionals. Come out there. There we go. Tweezers. Okay, so one of those each end. Okay, so that's for that one, and then the same here. I had thought I'd got some white twine out to wrap round, but I think that card's going to be busy enough on its own. So I think I'm going to put some pads on here now. 3D that. Stick the greeting on and we're done. So have you enjoyed these tonight? Who's going to have a go at doing something similar? It was watercolour card, Linda. Sorry, Maxine. I'll bring the packet back on just a sec. Buried it. It's this one. It comes in a packet. It doesn't come in the plastic box. It comes in a packet. But you've got in here. Did it say how many sheets? No, it just says the Fluid 100. It's called Fluid 100 watercolour paper. Oh yes, it might. 10 sheets in there. So it says Fluid 100 premium archival cotton watercolour paper made with a combination of traditional paper making techniques and modern technology. Results in a natural white colour paper with a subtle texture that shares qualities of expensive mould made papers. So that's what that's all about. By getting good watercolour paper, I have had cheap stuff. Believe me, it's tempting to buy cheaper. I had a load, just check the opening. I had a load of other watercolour paper, and it just, once you've used this, you notice the difference, and this will actually let those inks run better, much better. Okay, so that's that one, and then the sentiment to come on there too. Okay, so this one, again, I'm just going to cover up that bottom bit slightly. It'll look a bit silly just hanging out the bottom there, so I'll just, that one coming across. We could have washed that if you liked as well, like I said. Then this one the same. 1, 2. Those ones. So we had the background with the navy, and we had the navy background with the black. So we've just got 2 different variations. Okay, but we got 2 cards done tonight, 2 different, slightly different techniques. Oops. There we go. So now you can make up your mind which you like best. I like a mixture of both. There we go. So we've got 2 choices there. Now I'll bring you back in a little bit closer actually, so you can see those better. I'm going to go in the middle of the paper, isn't it? There. So we have I prefer this card. Oops, can you see me? I prefer this card, but with that sky. So I like the sky from here. I like the fact that the black separates from the navy rather than the navy into the black. Okay. You like the embossed trees. Yeah, these stand out better, don't they? Having done this one first, that was what I was planning to do. But then because I'd got the black embossing out to do the greeting, I thought, well, we could do that. So this, I mean, that's still a stormy sky. There's still like a texture in that sky, but I like that sky and the rest of this card. Okay. Great ideas, thank you. Oh, bless you, you're welcome. So yeah, it's lovely, and you can do that with different colours. I've used it with navy, but you can mix your colours. You could actually have a wash and have sunset colours like we talked about last time, sorry. Okay, so they're my cards for tonight. I could put some gems on there, but I really don't think there's any necessary. If we put some in, they'd just detract from the snow in the sky. Okay, so I will take that off there, bring you back to me. Oh, they're both beautiful. Thanks, Maxine. Yeah, love them. They're really good. And I will be doing my Christmas cards early as well. So Marilyn's coming over to see us, I think at the end of August. I think you're the day after I get back from Vegas, so I'll be a little bit jet lagged. So keep me awake. But put your request in, and we will make whatever projects you like to do. Okay. Oh, bless you, Linda. Okay, lovely to have you all here. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for staying around a little bit longer tonight. Usually it's the Wednesday ones that are a bit longer. But yeah, thanks again, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye for now. Oh, and don't forget, the bonus days vouchers are still on. So if you're making any purchases before the end of the month, every £45 you spend, you've got £4.50 coupon, a voucher code to spend in August. So you get some money off in August. Okay, so if you've got purchases, Linda, I know you're saying you've got something to do, split it over. So get some this month and get some vouchers to save on next month's purchases. Okay, so take care, bear that in mind.